Welcome to another episode of Business Bros with the delay online. You know what? We have done the delay thing online, but we usually have a guest, huh?
Usually we have a guest. It's pretty rare that it's just you and me doing the thing online.
Yeah, it's kind of weird like this, but we're going to do this today anyways. What up, ladies and gentlemen? Hernan CS here, host of the Business Bros podcast, where we're helping you create wealth today and generational wealth for tomorrow. And I'm online with my co-host,
the insurance bro, James CS with Pipeline Insurance, where we are empowering licensed professionals to effectively add insurance to their existing businesses. Too many E's. That's
too many E's. A lot of E's or I's.
A lot of E's.
EIOs.
I shouldn't say EIOs. Not too many, but a lot. And man, this is an interesting one. This is the first for us to do this Zoom call, just you and me. Usually if we do a Zoom call, we have a guest who is far and away. But I'm, just a few miles away from you and worked from home today, which was kind of cool. And then you're like, you know what? Got a lot of stuff going on. Let's just do a Zoom call.
Boom. So we're going to hop on a call and get it done. We still got to, that's the thing, dude. It's consistency, dude. Consistency, making sure we get things done, even if we have to like modify and adapt. Like, I actually haven't really seen you in a few days. Like it's been wild. Like, I haven't had a co-host, exactly for the show. You did come over. I got you for like 10 minutes that day that I had done an earlier show, and then you weren't feeling so hot. So, you hit it out.
Monday.
That was Monday. But other than that, like, I haven't hung out with you. It's kind of weird.
No. I'm trying to think. Like Tuesday. No, I was there on Tuesday. We did the show on Tuesday with Brennan.
With Justin
Brennan. Yep. And then Wednesday you did a thing, and yesterday you did a thing. But yeah, it's weird to not be there every day.
So what have you done with your time off, dude? I mean, it's not really time off. You haven't been working, but
I just stayed at the office and I was like, oh, no podcast? Cool. I can get more work done.
Dude, I was talking about, reflecting on Fridays this morning when I was on my Instagram live, and I was talking about, making sure that you look back at your week and you kind of think about what it is that you did, and not biting off chunks that are too big and eating an elephant one bite at a time. And I was going through that old chestnut, and I was kind of looking at my week sheet for the week, and I didn't really break down my week sheet like I normally did. I still had my one up from last week, but I did have my main focus for this week, which was getting the small package outlined for my for helping people do podcasting. And I was kind of talking about you this morning. I was talking about how like I'm a very overview person, and I tend to have like a very overview type of opinion of where we're going to go. Like, I got this great idea. We're going to go here. We're going to do this. We're going to go here. And then you tend to kind of take it and dissect it and put it into manageable steps. And I was talking about how like you're actually not really doing that with me on this podcasting thing, because you've been building the insurance side like that. And I kind of wanted to get your opinion on what when I build this out. I was talking to Melina the other day. She was having the show. Her weekly training, and I was telling her that I tend to brain dump a lot of stuff, and then I get stuck on the details. Right? Where do you see I've talked to you about stuff, and you kind of got an idea of what we're doing with the podcasting training. Where do you think I should go? Like, I should be focusing my attention on to make sure that I help enough people with building the podcast. You kind of see it from a producer's point of view. And so I'm kind of using this time to kind of pick your brain on, I've dumped a lot of stuff on what I think people are going to want to do. What do you think people are going to need help with when it comes to creating their podcast?
What do I think people are going to need help with when it comes to creating the podcast? That's a little bit different question than where I thought you were going with it. I thought you were asking me like, what are the steps that you need to take to be able to help people
Well,
with the podcast.
that works too, but I wanted it from a producer's point of view. You know what I mean?
Yeah, from a producer's point of view, I mean,
So you can flip the switch and turn it on.
so yeah, sure. So first of all, we're talking about an investment. So somebody is planning to make an investment into themselves by hiring us to help them create their podcast. Their initial investment is just hiring the business bros to help them put this thing together. So whatever that's going to cost, right? Who knows how much it's going to be? There's an initial investment of just the coaching and the help. Then the other investment is the equipment. So we're talking about when we did our podcast, we paid what 600. Let's just call it $650 for the package of 4 mics and all of the basic general equipment. But then we took it a step further. We paid another $1,000 for Sling Studio
for the opportunity to do video.
Mm-hmm. You have actually spent even more on some of the other mic stands. We've gone through a couple. I don't know, maybe another $200 or $300 tops.
Yeah, something like that. So you're looking at almost $2,000.
So we're talking about almost $2,000 at this point. Now, granted, the mic stands that were part of that kit, maybe we can not get those and just go straight to these nice ones that we have. We love these ones with this arm,
the mobility,
right? Because now we're stationary. The mobility, the look, the feel, like we can just move the mic around when we need to. All of that makes it really super easy. But we gotta know who our customers are, and is that really what they need? I think so. I think people that are going to be setting up podcasts and investing as much as they're going to, that they're going to want the best equipment. And we have found through trial and error that these swinging arms are the best equipment.
Mm-hmm. So initial investment and equipment. So when I was thinking about that, because I know we're gonna have a starter package, we'll have a medium type package, and then we're gonna have an elite package, right? The starter package is very much going to be more along the lines of coaching and helping through the creating of the podcast. So this is advising you on equipment, how we set it up, what software we use, where to get this particular equipment, like you're talking about right now. And then on the other side, we're going to have the elite package where you don't need to buy all that. Like, we're going to do all that for you. So,
okay.
So that's later. That's on the other side. But today, like, keep going with this, because this is where I wanted to focus on this week anyways, which was at the beginning. If there's people who have more time than money and other people who have more money than time. So for this package that we're talking about here, this is the starter package. This is people who have more time than money. Right. So there's going to be initial investment and you need to get started. Do you need all the mics and equipment? You don't have to, but this is how we got started. So let's recommend this. Right. And so just kind of wanted to keep that in mind. So keep going. All right. So we got an investment package for equipment itself.
Right. So, and again, it depends on how much equipment do you want, and do you want the ability to do video? And you could probably do video even without Sling Studio.
Mm-hmm. Especially when you're getting started, it's just you.
And just you. But as soon as you start trying to pull in multiple cameras, then it starts to be an issue.
Yeah, and the main reason for that, ladies and gentlemen who are listening and watching, the main reason for that is you can use multiple cameras, right? You can use a cell phone camera, you can use a GoPro, you can use your other cameras, all that stuff. That's great. But now you have 3 digital feeds that you got to go back and match up with the audio, and you have to edit it and make sure that everything lines up, and that is very time consuming. So the benefits of having the Sling Studio that we use is that we do all the editing live as we record. So there is no worry about syncing up the audio and syncing up the video and cutting to this place and adding a banner and none of that stuff. We don't have to worry about it as we go. And it's a huge time saver, especially if you're producing on your own. Like James and I, that's the extent of our team. Like there is no, we don't have anybody else doing anything when we put on the show on a daily basis. We have a team that comes back and beautifies some of the video stuff that you see on our Instagram. But when it comes to day-to-day production, that's it. That's just James and I. Like what you see is what you get, and you know, the audio wise, what you hear is what you get. So there is still times where we're flustered and when we're going through a bunch of stuff, and you might hear little echo stuff, but that's all stuff that we can go back and edit out and change should we really want to go out back and edit things. But we're essentially coming up with ways so that you can continue to produce a podcast every single day. So you have video every single day. And this is long form content. So this is what you're going to listen to, what your audience will listen to for the entire 30 minutes, an hour, whatever it is. Joe Rogan style is what I like to say. So Joe Rogan has that podcast. He puts it out. His episodes are anywhere from like an hour to 3 hours long. Just depends on, who he has on the show and what's going on. And not everybody consumes the entire amount, but then they take that long form content and they take small pieces, little gems, and then those become the little things that you pay attention to. Those are the little snippets from your long form that are developing your brand. All right, Han. So I wanted to expand on why we use Sling Studio, why we invested the $1,000. Basically, it's $1,000 investment up front to cut down on time every single episode.
For sure. All right. So I'm just kind of I've been writing down these this flow, right? Because this is what I do. So somebody signs up for a coaching program and then they have to buy the equipment. The next thing that they think about is what's the time commitment. So what do we do for them as far as figuring out what their time commitment is going to be? Content and guests, marketing and social media presence. So all of these things are kind of like where I'm at. So first of all, the time commitment thing. If somebody wants to do a podcast, what kind of time commitment do we require of them as coaches?
So depending on how often they're going to post, right? So you can be crazy, bizarre maniacs like these two guys I know that go out and post an episode every single day, but that does require a large time commitment. I mean, this is every day, and it's not just the half hour that you're posting on the show, like that you're sitting down. James, for example, he drives out to the house every single day to do one of these episodes. So you got to include the drive time that you need to get from point A to point B. If you're going to be at a specific studio, or if you're going to be having, going on site to be with a guest or whatever it's going to be, where are you going to be recording these? So drive time is one of those things that you need to factor in. Then there's the actual recording of the episode itself. Right. So every episode, we always tell our guests that it's about a 30-minute show. But if those of you guys who've been listening for quite some time now, when you have a 30-minute show, it doesn't necessarily mean 30 minutes. It's more like it's 30 minutes of, just getting started and communicating. And then before you know it, it's 45 minutes into the show and the conversation's getting really good and you kind of don't want to cut it off or whatever. So, 30 minutes is maybe your guideline, but then maybe you want to go a little bit longer. Some of you don't want to go 30 minutes and it's okay. You can do 10, 15 minute shows and that's completely okay. It'll shorten the time commitment that you want to do. The biggest thing is the consistency factor in how often you're going to post, right? Whatever it is, whether you're going to say that you're going to do it daily or you're going to do it weekly or you're going to do it monthly or bi-weekly, whatever it is, then that's when you want to make sure that you're available to commit to that you're going to stick to that schedule. So once you decide on how often you're going to do the show, then we can decide on the length. And then we can factor out a block time that you want to commit to on a daily basis. And it's going to be difficult at first. Right? At first, getting to do the production and getting yourself set up and getting yourself going and making sure you prepare for the show, it's going to be a little more time consuming at the beginning. But as you continue to do it regularly, you get used to having these time slots for yourself, and you get a little bit better each time at what you're going to talk about, how you're going to present it. You get used to creating your show norms, like the business bros, or the Ask the Bros section. Everybody has their own little quirky things, right? The main topic of the day, or the realtor's top tip, or whatever it is that you're going to do on your show. You're going to develop these little things that are consistent, and you're going to see that they eat up part of your show time every single time. But at least if you commit to being on air every single day, or every single week, or every single month, whatever it is, the time frame will get smaller, even though you're allocating a specific amount of time. Then, of course, there's the post-production, right? So you have the actual recording, and then you got to make sure that it goes out somewhere. So you got to, like, what we do is after we record, I sit down, I take the plain audio, I add an intro, I add an outro, I make sure the volumes are correct, and then I got to upload it to our website so that it goes out to iTunes, Spotify, Google Music, all these other platforms. And then I take the video, and I actually don't upload the videos usually till the weekend, but the same type of thing. I take the videos off the memory card and then turn around and upload all the videos with their descriptions and all that stuff onto YouTube. And boom, now we got stuff on that platform too. So, the time commitment, you're right. It's something that we need to decide upon, and it's really based on your schedule. If this is just going to be something that you're doing on the side that you're going to work on and develop, and maybe we start off with something that you can commit to on a smaller scale. If this is something that you want to build up and use as a major platform, then we got to hit the accelerator on that, and we got to schedule. We're going to time block just like you do for prospecting. This is going to be one of your things that you do for prospecting, and you got to commit your prospecting time to this thing, right? This is going to be the vehicle how you're going to get your information out. So time, dude, is of the essence for sure.
It is. And something that you didn't even touch on, you mentioned post-production, but what about pre-production? Right? Yeah. We haven't even discussed this. So our show, the way that we do things, we're very fly by the seat of our pants, right? We just jump in, we talk to our guests. But even before you start talking to the guest, there's usually about 15 or so minutes where I am gathering information and writing their intro.
Yep.
Right. We always do that part of it, and that takes a little bit of time. The pregame that we always tell them about. We're gonna have 3 intros, and we're gonna go live and set up your phone with Sling Studio, like all of these different pre-production things. Now, if you talk to somebody like Melina, she spends even more time on her pre-production for her weekly show. Brainy Biz, for those of you listening, the Brainy Business, right? Brainy Business podcast. Anyway, she spends, I don't know how many hours prepping for each weekly show that she does. And that's a whole different, I mean, it's very scripted and informative, and the way that she does her show is very different from ours. It's not fly by the seat of her pants at all. It's very much, this is the script that I've written, and this is what I'm going to talk about. So depending on the kind of show that you would like to do, there's a bit of pre-production time commitment as well. And again, it all depends on your post frequency. If you're going to be posting every day, you're probably not going to do a ton of pre-production. We did when we first started out. We pulled a bunch of ideas from whatever. We outlined a bunch of stuff, everything from like, who are we, where did we come from, to Tim and Julie Harris's course, and all kinds of stuff. But if depending on how you want to do your show, you may have a different level of pre-production time commitment as well.
And there is no wrong answer there, by the way. Like, if you're the talker and you want to ad lib and you have a specific topic that you want to ramble on about, and that's your personality type, then by all means, like, that's going to be your thing. But there are other people who do get a little nervous behind the camera. They want to get a specific idea across, and they want to teach you something very specific, like Melina's show, right? And so she has one concept, one well-researched concept. Maybe you're a storyteller and you're telling one specific story and you've written this story out all the way through and you have character analysis, whatever it is, you know, there's all kinds of different stuff. Or maybe you're baking and you want to, you know, explain exactly what you're doing throughout your whatever it is that you're making, and talking about the different things. So it doesn't really matter what it is. Just understand that when we decide to have your particular show in place, we need to allocate the time to either do it at the beginning side and also add the end, which is the post-production part. The actual recording of it itself is actually the easiest part, in my opinion. It's the part where you hop on camera. It's the part where you're most uncomfortable at the beginning, but after a while it becomes second nature and you're good at it. It's the setting yourself up and figuring out who you are and what your process is at the beginning, and then how do I take what I've recorded and make it something that's useful and that I'm ready to post. Those are the two things that I think people are going to struggle with the most. Because the preparation, once you have the preparation done, getting behind the camera is easy. You have a lot more confidence with the preparation. And then the end is a confidence thing. This is where you got to get out of your own way and say, look, this is done and I'm posting it, and then post, right? Stop, my voice sounds weird. My face looks weird. Guess what? That's how it is, right? That's how we are. But the first part is getting yourself mentally ready to go on camera. The other part is getting yourself mentally, getting your ego out of your own way so that you can post and continue to get things done. All right.
Yep. So, I love that. That's what I was going to say. You were like, the easy part is getting in front of the camera. I was like, not for everybody. But once you do it a few times, once you kind of get used to the flow, it's not so bad. It gets kind of easy.
Yeah,
it can get that way.
It can get that way. All right, I got some more stuff on my list. Or you got some stuff on your list still? Go for it.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I mean, we're talking. This is my thing, man. We're talking project management. Basically, it's like taking it from step A to step Z.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, signing up for a coaching program, getting the equipment, discovering what your time commitment is going to be. What about? I mean, through all of this, have we decided what the subject is going to be?
Right.
At what point do we say, hey, what are we even gonna talk about?
Mm-hmm. So this is one of those things where when I talk to somebody that wants to start a podcast, and let's say, for example, they're a real estate agent, right? And they're like, we're going to do a podcast. And then they come out and they're like, okay, well, we're going to do a real estate podcast. I'm like, I don't know. Like, That's not the most interesting thing in the world. Like, I can only hear about so many, market updates. And I'm not saying that a real estate podcast is a bad thing. I'm just saying that oftentimes you burn out on things that you don't have passion behind, right? So yesterday I had Joe Nicasio on the show, and he said something that was really cool. He's like, first you got to figure out what you love, right? If you figure out something that you love to do, it's not going to feel like work. You love doing it, right? Then you got to figure out how to share the love. And if you can share the love, then you're going to have passion behind what you talk about. Right? There's going to be more fuel to what you have. People are really going to get a sense that you love what it is that you're doing, that you've been doing it for a while, that you have this experience, that you can feel the person trying to get you to move in a direction because they love what they do and they're sharing the love with you. And if you can do that really well, right? If you can share the love really well, then they're going to give you love back, right?
So what you're telling me is you love podcasting.
That's exactly what I'm saying, right? And so, when I talked to Sean, from Cali Comfort Barbecue, and he was like, "Dude, what's your brand? What is it? What is it that who you are, right?" And he's like, "Why aren't you helping people build their podcasts? You love talking about podcasts. Clearly, you like doing this every day." And I was like, "I don't know, man. You're absolutely right. Like, I don't know why I haven't been talking about it." Yep, exactly. Epiphany, lightning has struck my brain, right? And when I talk about it, like it's not work. On Saturday last week, I hopped on the phone with Nolan, Haas the Boss, on Instagram, by the way. And he's starting a podcast, and I sat and talked with him for like 30 minutes, and it was about how to help him create his podcast. And I get passionate behind this stuff. Like, this is like, dude, let me tell you why it's so important. Like, you want to build a business, you want to get, your brand out there, you want people to recognize you and see what it is you do every day. You need to be posting content every day. What better way to do it than through podcasting? Here's how to work. Right. And so, talking about having a concept, if you're a real estate agent, what is it that you do when you're not a real estate agent? What is it that you do for fun? What is it that you do, when you take your real estate hat off, what are you doing for fun? Are you baking? Are you biking? Are you doing like jujitsu? Like, there's something about you that you do for fun that you would do every single day if you possibly could. And if we can combine those two things, your fun with your brand of what you do for a living, and have a mixture of those two things, right? Maybe you have a show on baking, like we were talking about earlier, right? But it's like the realtor's cupcake special is your little tidbit, and you're branding yourself as, look, I'm a realtor and this is what I do for fun. My show is about me cooking, whatever, but I am still the realtor that bakes, or you know what I mean? I'm the loan officer that does jujitsu, and we can talk about those two things. And now you can start interviewing people in a different space. Fit National, Shannon over at Fit National Solutions, is a perfect example of this. She loves being an instructor in Zumba and in the fitness space, but she's also a CPA. And so she's built her brand in the fitness space, knowing that people who go to the gym might have gym businesses, might have jobs, that they actually go to on a daily basis, homes, or whatever they need. And so she brings in and fills the need of a CPA in the space of fitness. Right? And now it's a much more interesting conversation. She's never going to stop talking about fitness and things that she sees in the fitness world that can be a tax deduction or a loophole or whatever it is. She's going to make the connection because she loves to do it every day. So finding that inspiration for you to figure out what it is you want to do, something that you already do, combine that with what it is that you do professionally. And if we can find a good mix there, that's, to me, is a recipe for something that you're going to take on long-term, that you're going to commit to on a long-term basis.
So that covers the next step, which is the content. So now we know exactly what we're going to talk about. And one of the things that I know you were looking at doing was, if somebody wanted to get guests on their show, that's another thing that we'd be looking at doing.
Yep. So there's a bunch of different things that we can do there. We've already amassed a large network of people that have been on our show and want to be on other shows. So you're going to get, as part of our coaching program, you're going to have access to those guests already right off the bat. So we can schedule you stuff there. Today's podcast was actually supposed to be with Abigail, and I'm not going to say too much about what she does, but basically she has a network of people that work both ways. People who have a podcast who need guests, and people who are guests that want to be on podcasts. And so I'm bringing on people like that to be part of the Business Bros team, so that when you come on, we have the opportunity for you to not only get on other podcasts, but even do like live TV and do interviews with magazines and different things like that, because we want you to have the most exposure possible, bring the most value, so that your podcast continues to grow its audience, right? That's really what it comes down to, is you don't have much of an audience right now, and you want to get in front of more people to tell them what it is you do. That's the purpose of your podcast. And so if you can get fun and engaging people on your show, it helps grow your audience, because now they're going to share that podcast with their friends and family, and you're going to start to bring on people from your from their audience onto your show. And some of them are going to jive with you, some of them are not, but some of them are going to stick with you. They're going to connect with you. They're going to be like, oh, I like to bake too, or oh, I like to do Zumba too. This is pretty interesting. You know what, dude? I like to do jiu-jitsu. Like, this is pretty cool. Like, I'm into this. I wonder who the next fighter they're going to get on the show is. Whatever it's going to be, right? You're going to connect with your audience because you're staying in your lane of what you enjoy and love, and we're able to connect you with other people who want to be on your show and to expand your network and your audience base.
Yeah, and even though she didn't show up today, Abigail didn't show up today, I just saw on your calendar you actually have a meetup that you're going to tomorrow, podcast movement meetup.
Yep. And it's the same type of thing, right? It's about getting out there, meeting other people who are in the same space, right? Who want to expand their networks, and then bringing them together on your behalf. So being part of our program is going to allow you to not only access the information that we've developed over 400 episodes in, but also get into our network and all the elite people that we're beginning to talk to, because they're looking for other places to place their speakers too. So, once you develop your skill, once you have this platform, one of the coolest things is people return your calls. Like if you reach out to somebody and tell them, hey, I want to put you on my show, they're like, heck yeah. And they call you back. So it's one of those amazing things. I want to make sure they share that opportunity with you guys.
This all leads into the last thing that I have written down, which is marketing and a social media presence. Having access to this network, having access to all these people, I mean, it's got marketing almost built right into it. But how are we doing? What are we doing to help people with their social media presence?
So on the coaching side, on our basic package, we're going to walk you through what we do on a daily basis. This is some of the simple tactics that we use specifically to grow our own audience, without spending any additional cash, right? Our more advanced packages, we're going to have packages where we do a lot of the stuff for you to help you get there. But things like creating a logo that stands out for you, we're going to show you how we can go out and get that done for you relatively cheap. Or things like how to communicate with your audience members, how to communicate with potential people online. One of the greatest tidbits that I've learned that I love to do is to send video DMs versus typing. Video DMs get the greatest engagement because it's you being personal. You say the person's name like right out there, like, hey, George, or hey, Carl, like, how's it going today? I hope you're enjoying the rest of your Tuesday afternoon, or, hey, happy Valentine's Day, or whatever it is. You're identifying that it's you, the person behind the profile, not somebody just managing your account. You're acknowledging their name, which is most people, their favorite word to hear is their name. So they know it's personal, right? And then on top of that, you're mentioning the date or the day that you're sending this, or something going on in the current event, so that they know you didn't just have this pre-recorded and sent out to other people. It's very personal. And when people feel that it's a very personal touch, you start to grow the audience. Not just that, and I'm going to share a little bit of this too. The metrics seem to work in your favor when you use a video that way. So for example, if I send a video via Instagram, if I send a video DM to somebody and they acknowledge and they respond, guess what is going to show up on their feed more often? That's right. I'm going to show up on their feed more often. Every time I'm posting my stuff, it's going to show up more because Instagram knows that we've engaged, and it's not just me sending you, it comes back because they responded back. If I send them a DM and they just ignore it and never answer it, like just type text, then I'm not going to show up on their feed as much because Instagram knows they're not really paying attention to me. But when I send a video DM, and I get a response, even if it's something like, hey, that's great, I appreciate the video, thank you very much, that's a response. Instagram sees that as interaction. And so they're going to see my content on their page more because we have engaged in an interaction. So, strategies like that are the things that you're going to get on our webinars, so that we can make sure that you're doing it and we can help you be accountable. You're going to get weekly sessions. You're going to get more close one-on-one, semi-private sessions on specific categories and specific topics to help you keep going, so that we're getting you in a position where you can succeed and grow your brand, because that's what it's all about. This is, by the way, not a short-term play. I am not guaranteeing anything that you post one video and you're going to get a ton of leads. It doesn't work that way. Right? This is definitely a long-term play. This is something where when James and I started the podcast, I told him we're going to do this every day for the next 3 years. Basically, I want to get to 1,000 episodes as fast as possible, right? Long-term play, but that's how you're going to develop your brand. That's how it's going to work. So sometimes you need a little bit of coaching. Sometimes you need a little bit of hand-holding. Sometimes you're going to get to the point where you have more money than time and you're going to just want somebody to do it for you. Regardless, we're going to be here to help you all the way through.
So I count 5 steps: coaching program, equipment, time commitment, content, marketing, and social media.
Oh, dude, that's a good outline. I'm gonna have to end up sharing you my my brain dump stuff because a lot of it is there too, so I can break down the webinar topics. But anyways, just so we can finish up here on time, ladies and gents, that's basically how James and I operate, right? I mean, I have this overview idea, this grand scheme of mine where I'm gonna help more and more people achieve the branding and marketing play that they want to achieve via podcasting, which is something that I'd come to enjoy immensely. And so I give James all kinds of stuff, and then he kind of breaks it down into small, manageable chunks. And this week, being that it's Friday, and I want you guys to reflect on what you did for this week. I had last week I had this big grand thing about setting up the audio, the video, and all this stuff, and I didn't accomplish everything on my list because my goal was just way too freaking big. This week I shrank it down and I was like, let me just plan out what the low package is going to be. What are the main topics that we're going to have here? Because once I have the main topics, I can bring them down to James and be like, hey, help me out or identify these, right? And then now we have a starting package, a place where we can start. So what I said on Instagram this morning is my next step is I'm going to set up a webinar where I'm going to introduce what our basic package is going to offer. And so if you guys are interested in getting information on that, send me a DM, send me an email, hernan@csfirst.com or 619-884-4915 is my cell. Send me a text message. I'll add you to that email list soon here, early next week sometime. I want to put out, basically I'm going to set up a landing page where you can register for the webinar, and then you can figure out what's it going to involve so you can see if this is something that you're interested in. So it's time for you to make that leap of faith for yourselves, to start branding yourself, to start growing that circle of influence. If cold calling wasn't working for you, if door knocking wasn't working for you, if you have more time at home that you need to take care of the kids, you can only squeeze out some time to make put out content like this on a regular basis. I'm going to be there to help you so that you can take advantage of your day the most efficient way possible, but still put out content where you're creating a brand for yourself. So guys, Ham, dude, this was kind of fun doing it on the Zoom.
Yeah, not too shabby.
Not too shabby. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we got for you guys today. Peace.
Bye-bye.
And we're out.